February 1959. Deep inside the freezing wilderness of the Soviet Union, 9 highly experienced hikers cut open their tent from the inside and ran out into a deadly midnight blizzard. Completely barefoot, they weren't running from a fire. They weren't running from an avalanche. They were fleeing in pure, unadulterated terror from something inside or just outside their camp. Weeks later, rescue teams found their bodies scattered across the snow. Some were missing their eyes and tongues. Others had their ribs and skulls completely crushed with a force equivalent to a high-speed car crash. Yet there were absolutely no external signs of a struggle and no footprints other than their own. To add to the horror, their clothing was found dripping with highly lethal levels of radiation. What could possibly terrify 9 winter survival experts so badly that they chose to freeze to death in -30 degrees rather than stay inside their tent? Welcome to the Dyatlov Pass incident, a mystery that science has failed to solve for nearly 70 years. To understand the horror of that night, we have to look at who these people were. This was not a group of careless tourists. The expedition was led by Igor Dyatlov, a brilliant 23-year-old engineering student. He assembled a team of 8 other young, athletic ski instructors and students, along with 1 older military veteran. Every single person on this team was a certified Grade 2 hiker, meaning they knew exactly how to survive the most brutal winter conditions. On January 23rd, they set off on a dream expedition across the northern Urals. Their destination was Mount Otorten. In the local native Mansi language, the word Otorten carries a chilling translation: "Don't go there." For the first week, everything went perfectly. Diaries and photographs recovered from the scene show a group full of joy, laughing, setting up camp, and documenting their journey. But by February 1st, the weather turned vicious. A sudden, blinding snowstorm caused them to lose their bearings. Instead of finding shelter in the forest below, Dyatlov made a fatal decision. He ordered the team to pitch their tent right on the exposed, freezing slopes of Kolat-Syakhl, a mountain known to the locals as the Mountain of the Dead. By February 12th, the group was supposed to send a telegram announcing their safe return. No message ever arrived. By February 20th, anxious families demanded action, and a rescue team consisting of teachers, students, and military planes was dispatched into the wilderness. On February 26th, they finally spotted the camp. The scene looked like a snapshot of absolute chaos. The tent was half buried in snow, empty, and sliced wide open from the inside. Inside the tent, all of their protective survival gear was left untouched. Their heavy winter coats, their boots, their food, and their knives, everything they needed to stay alive was neatly piled up. Outside, investigators found rows of footprints made by 8 or 9 people. But these footprints weren't normal. The hikers were walking, not running, down the slope in zero visibility weather, wearing only socks, a single shoe, or completely barefoot in the freezing -30-degree snow. The footprints led down the mountain for nearly a mile, straight toward the edge of a dense pine forest. And it was beneath a massive, ancient cedar tree that the search party uncovered the first dark reality of that night. Under that giant cedar tree, investigators found the frozen remains of a tiny fire alongside the first 2 bodies. They were dressed only in their underwear. Their hands were severely burned and raw, with skin left on the bark, proving they had desperately tried to climb the frozen tree until their fingers failed them. 3 more bodies, including Igor Dyatlov, were found scattered between the tree and the tent. Their position suggested they were trying to crawl back to the tent, fighting against the freeze. before they succumbed to the cold. But the real horror remained hidden until the spring thaw. 2 months later, deep inside a snowy ravine further into the woods, the remaining 4 hikers were finally found, and their injuries completely changed the case from a tragedy into a terrifying mystery. Unlike the others, these 4 had suffered massive internal trauma. 1 hiker's skull was fractured open. 2 others had their chests completely crushed, with their ribs broken inward. The medical examiner stated that these injuries could only be caused by an immense, sudden pressure similar to the blunt force of a high-speed car crash. Yet, strangely, there was absolutely no damage to the soft tissue or skin on the outside of their bodies. It was as if they were crushed from the inside out. If the internal crushing injuries weren't enough, investigators discovered that one of the female hikers had her tongue and eyes completely missing. And then came the final anomaly. Testing revealed that the clothing of these victims carried impossibly high levels of radioactivity. To make things even more bizarre, another group of hikers camping miles away reported seeing strange, glowing orange spheres floating silently in the night sky in the exact direction of Dyatlov's camp on the night they died. The Soviet authorities abruptly closed the investigation, locking the files away under top secret status. Their official conclusion was a phrase that solved nothing. They stated the hikers died due to an unknown compelling force. What was that force? Over the decades, hundreds of theories have emerged. Was it a freak avalanche that panicked them? Was it a top-secret military weapons test gone wrong, explaining the radiation and orange spheres? Or did they encounter something in those woods that science refuses to acknowledge? As you turn off your lights tonight, ask yourself this: what could possibly be out there in the dark that would make you run out into a freezing blizzard to die, rather than face what was coming inside?